Today we're going to practice multiplying fractions, and before I begin, I want to talk about two things. So one, when people hear the word multiply, they so often think that the number will always get bigger, and that is not always true. The second thing I want you to remember is when you hear the word multiply, I want you to think of the word of, O-F, of. So let me show you what I mean. Let's pretend we have a $100 bill. Okay, we want to know what 100 times 2 is, or 2 of these. 2 of these would be $200. 100 times 2. Okay, but when we multiply by numbers that are less than 1, like 1/2, let's see what happens. So let's pretend we have this same 100 and we want to multiply by 1/2. So what is 1/2 of 100? 1/2 of 100 is 50. Okay, so basically I just want you to know that when you have any number and you multiply it by the number 1, like 1 times 100, you are going to get that same number, 100. If you multiply by a number larger than 1, like 2, you're going to get a greater number. 100 times 2 is 200. But if you multiply by a number smaller than 1, like 1/2, 1/2 of 100 is 50. You are going to get a number smaller than what you originally had. So if you multiply by any number less than 1, you're going to get a smaller number than the one you originally had. And that is usually what happens with fractions. Okay, so let's do some examples so I can show you exactly what I mean. Let's pretend we had 1/2 times 1/2. So this is basically saying, what is 1/2 of 1/2? Let me just show you one last picture example, and then we'll just get right to the algorithm. So here's just a card, okay? So 1/2 of this card looks like this. So this is going to represent this right here. And then if we want to know what 1/2 of this is, I'd rip it again and we would get a 4th. So 1/2 of 1/2 is 1/4. And the algorithm says you can just multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. So the answer is 1/4. Let's do another one using the algorithm. Let's do 2/3 times 3/5. So we again are just going to multiply straight across. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. And then we just need to ask ourselves if we can reduce this. Again, this is still the correct answer. We just want to put it in the proper form by reducing it. So what number goes into both 6 and 15 besides 1? That number is 3. 3 goes into 6 twice. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So our final answer is 2/5. Let's try another one. 4/7 times 2/5. Okay, we're just going to, again, multiply straight across. 4 times 2 is 8. 7 times 5 is 35. And there is no number besides 1 that goes into these evenly. So this is our final answer. It's reduced in everything, 8/35. Okay, so sometimes reducing can be tricky. You have to think of all these numbers that can go in to any given two numbers. And I absolutely hate reducing, okay? So I'm going to show you the shortcut I use that makes it so much easier to reduce. And you always get the right answer if you do it like this, okay? Okay. Let's do 2/3 times 1/4. Okay, so before I multiply 2 times 1 and 3 times 4, I'm actually going to reduce right here because these numbers are a lot smaller than the numbers I'm going to get in the end. And it's just easier to reduce when you're working with smaller numbers. So this is what you do. Okay, you look at your numerators, and I have a numerator of 2, and I have a numerator of 1. Remember, numerators are the top, denominators are the bottom. And I'm going to compare those numerators with one of my denominators. My denominators are 3 and 4. So I am going to look for one numerator that can, and one denominator that can reduce before I multiply. So I'm looking for a number that can go into one of these numerators and one of these denominators evenly besides 1. So let's look at this for a minute. And I think there is a number that goes into 2 and 4 evenly. What number is that? 2. 2 goes into both of those numbers. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 4 twice. Now I'm going to multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. So my final answer is 1/6. It's already reduced, and we're good to go. If I didn't do that, I would have gotten 2 times 1, which is 2, 3 times 4, which is 12, and then I would reduce 2/12 down to 1/6. So you don't have to do it this way, but when you're working with larger numbers, it just gets so much easier. Let's do one more. 4/5 times 10/12. So look for a numerator and a denominator that I can compare. It doesn't have to be the one right above each other. It could be this with this and this with this. It could be anyone. So let's look. Okay, right away I see 5 and 10. And I know 5 can go into both of those. 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 10 twice. Okay, let's look before we multiply to see if there's any other numbers we can compare. Okay, I see a 4 and a 12, and I know that 4 goes into both of those. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 12 3 times. So now let's look, is there any more? I don't think so. I think we are good to go. So now I'm just going to multiply across. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 3 is 3. And our final answer is 2/3. I hope you learned a lot. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so I can keep posting fun math videos for you. Bye!